the difference that happens when we live as God's holy temple. What does that mean? Ages ago, people would look at the temple and say, God is there. That's where His glory dwells. Today, God wants people to look at you and say, God is there. That's where His glory dwells. Not because we are perfect, but because people see the difference God is making in our lives. Will we make the most of that privilege? The most of that blessing? As we close, remember the book of Haggai. It's a book of restoring from ruin. When you and I are separated from God because of sin, our life is a ruin. And even when things on the outside seem okay, on the inside there is rottenness. Eventually it will make its way to the outside. But God is saying, I can take your ruins, the ruins of your life, and I can restore you to be the person I meant you to be, a person who lives in relationship with me and who will experience the greatest privilege and the greatest blessing. Now, way back then, the rebuilding of the temple was a dream. And the Jews were probably thinking, how are we going to do this? Where is the money going to come from? And you remember the story we saw earlier. God assured them, the silver is mine and the gold is mine. But when it comes to you and me, to be built up as God's temple, God says something different. Very different. He says, you were not redeemed with perishable things like silver or gold, from your futile way of life inherited from your forefathers, but with precious blood, as of a lamb unblemished and spotless, the blood of Christ. God's investment in you and in me is a cost that cannot be measured. It was the blood of His Son. So the question remains, will we take upon ourselves that greatest blessing and that greatest privilege to live as God's holy temple?